Good morning, everybody. According to the official timekeeping system of the United States of America, my Verizon cell phone not paid off yet. It's exactly 10 o'clock Eastern time, and it's a bit earlier if you're in some states that might be to the west of us. Thanks for joining us on this Social Ski Open Forum on the 25th of September. The Open Forum is sponsored by the National Social Security Association, which is responsible for the National Social Security Advisor Certificate Program. I'm your co-host, Mark Kiner, and my Bengals black and orange jersey thing. And Jim, my co-host, is there wearing his Bengals jersey somewhere along the way.
Oh, it's around here somewhere.
Today would be a little lighter of a day here, and that's because this is a really major Jewish holiday, Yom Kippur. And when I scheduled this open forum, I did not realize it was being scheduled for today, and I did not want to cancel it. So after the holiday today, our Zoom today, I will be going to services. Fortunately, I could Zoom services. I'll even wear my Bengals thing because no one's going to see me anyways. So happy holidays to all of our Jewish advisors and certificate holders here and across the country. So I wanted to let you know that we still have three in-person classes this year. We got our B in Troy, Michigan, October 25th, Louisville, November 3rd, Cincinnati, November 13th. We'd like to see at one of our upcoming webinars. In-person classes, or you want to attend one of our webinars, that's great too. We have our holiday special webinars coming up, so your colleagues can attend our webinar in December at a 40% discount. I think it's like December 18th is a full day one, and then we have another one later on in the year. I don't know, 29th and 30th, maybe, you don't quote me, where the time is probably 10 to 2 Eastern time on both days. All right. Now that I got that stuff out of the way, let's start the open forum. As always, if you have a question and you want to go to the top of the line, feel free to just raise your hand. I'll get to you almost right away. But between now and then, I will just start far left, top left. I'll go to my good friend Paul in here. Oh, sorry, Paul, you're not next. Marcia raised her hand, so she gets first dibs at us. Go for it, Marcia. Good morning.
Right, good morning and happy holidays. I have a client situation that I could use your help with. A client is going to reach FRA next year, and he wants to file for benefits because he has two minor children. So sounds good. He gets benefits. He's older. He has an ex-wife, much younger, and the minor children are preteens. So what he wanted to know is there a way to route the kids' benefits directly into an account for them? And what kind of account does it need to be? Does it need to be like a 529 or a custodial account? Or could it be a brokerage account where the kids are named as the TOD? Are there rules and restrictions around how the kids will get their family benefit for having an older dad?
Yeah, someone will be the representative payee. That means they receive the benefits for them. They are required to account for how they spend the money. The money is to be spent first off on food, clothing, and shelter, so immediate needs have to be met. After that, it can be pretty much anything. It could be schooling. It could be anything that they need. It could be spending money, but it needs to be spent on their behalf. Now, it is received. It can go to any type of bank account, but the account will have their name on it. So each child would have an account. So it would have, if the kids stay with their mom, and I'm kind of assuming that might be the issue that this guy has. He wants to make sure the money's used on their behalf. So it would be in the mother's name for the child. And the child doesn't necessarily have to have access to the account. Mom would have access to the account, but Social Security does occasionally do what's called a payee accounting. Now, if it's a parent not as often as someone who isn't, unless there's an allegation of misuse. But it will go to a bank account, and then, it's also possible, if all the needs are met, you can save the money in some type of education account or any kind of account. If you do that, technically, when they become 18, Social Security wants that money back, and then they would reissue it to the child because they then become old enough to have the money themselves. It gets a little squirrely at that point, but yeah, it's Social Security will kind of keep an eye on it.
So is there a form he fills out then? Because his intention, both he and his ex-wife are friendly enough, so there's not any real issues there, but he's paying for the kids, the lion's share. They live most of the time with the mom. So he's not concerned that the money wouldn't go for the kids, but all their needs are met. So he's thinking the education accounts. But if you put this money into a 529, you can't take it out. Social Security can't take it out, right? I mean, it's for the benefit of the child. It can only come out for schooling.
Well, when
payments.
they're 18, they can ask for the money back. And if the parent, whoever the representative payee is, and the child go to Social Security and say, listen, this money is in this account. If we pull it out, we're going to be penalized. So, and the child says, it's fine with me if it stays where it's at because I'm going to use it for my schooling, then usually Social Security will say, okay.
Okay. So they want an accounting or a set of documents that's proof.
Yeah, if it goes in an account, it's
account.
easy enough to show where it's at. But
Right.
any money's spent, if it's a big purchase, have an account or a receipt. But yeah, if it's just strictly goes into an account for a savings for school, you'll have those records.
Yeah,
That's not a problem.
Okay. And is there any issue that he's divorced and the kids live with the mom most of the time?
No, one of them will file to be the representative payee. He'll list them on his application when he files. And then one of them, whoever's going to be the payee, probably mom, since they live with her most of the time, she'll have to file an application. It's pretty simple.
Okay. And last quick thing on this topic, are these the same rules? I don't usually deal with family benefits. I deal with, younger widows with young children, so they're survivor benefits. But are these the rules the same if it's a child whose parent passed?
Yeah, I mean, if they're minor children, if they're 18, then if they're still in high school, they'll pay them till they graduate or reach 19. If disabled before age 22, they're eligible. It's just the amount. It's based on 50% of the PIA instead of 75. And with 2 kids, they will hit the family max, so there will be a little bit of a reduction.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Thank you, Marcia. Okay, let's now go to Paul. Okay, Paul, you're on.
Oh, thanks an awful lot. I appreciate that. Client, the female is a school teacher, whole career, no money to Social Security. Husband, he's full maxed out. Can she collect spousal off of her husband there and still, but she'll still get a crackback block. There you go, Mark, for you on there with the WEP.
Not WEP, GPO.
Oh, GPO.
GPO applies to somebody that's going to receiving a government pension and eligible for a spousal Social Security benefit. That's a 2/3 offset.
Okay.
Reduce what you get off of your spouse by 2/3 of your state pension. So probably no, won't receive anything, but you have to do the math.
Okie dokie. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Paul, thank you. Appreciate it too. Tara, you're next. Top right.
No question today, Mark.
Okay, Tara, thank you. Steve, you're next. There you go.
Good morning, everyone. My question has to do with the requirement to report your address when you're living overseas. When does that come into effect when work with a lot of people who are sort of of a certain age like mine, and they're retired mostly, and they're sort of itinerant travelers. They don't really live anywhere overseas, but they don't live in the U.S. They don't have they have a sort of an address. They have their Medicare address. They might have with a family member or something, but they don't have a condo or a home or a rental property that they keep there. But they don't really live anywhere. And then there are other people that do live most of the time in some location overseas, but it seemed to me the requirement was after a certain number of months, you're supposed to report to the Social Security Administration your current address. And then there's this whole thing that for tax purposes, do you have a tax residence in the United States? Does that make you a U.S. resident? But if you're spending how much time overseas, when is it determined that you're an overseas resident and you're now required to notify Social Security Administration that you are and what that address is and so forth?
Well, Jim, let me at least tackle the tax question first. We're not able to provide tax advice or information, so that's completely out of the realm of what we know. Jim, you can answer the other question though.
Yeah, basically, if they don't have an address overseas, they're gonna have to have some residence address somewhere. And they'll have to use that. But if they're moving overseas and they have a resident address, you would need to notify Social Security right away, within a reasonable period of time, which is usually 60 days. If they're just traveling around and have no permanent residence anywhere, they've got to have something somewhere for notices and that type of thing to be sent to. So probably they'd use what same address that they use for their Medicare. But if technically they're a U.S. citizen, they're just traveling all over the world and not sticking anywhere, they're still a resident of the U.S. So at least from Social Security's perspective, and whatever address they want to use, that's what they'll use. It's more for notices and that type of thing.
Yeah, but just to follow up on that though, then for the people though that are, say someone has a residence overseas where they live 8 months of the year, and then they go home during the good weather back home for a few months. Are they a resident during those 8 months and they notify? Do they keep notifying back and forth when they move? What's sort of the downside risk if you fail to notify?
Well, the downside is if they send you a notice and they need information and you don't respond, they'll terminate, or not terminate, but suspend your benefits. So you could see a suspension in your benefits, and then you would have to contact them and get it resolved. So, if you're 8 months somewhere and 4 months back in the US, what do you do with your mail normally? I would think that since most of your time is outside the US, that'd be the address you'd want to use. But you might want to look into some sort of forwarding, or have someone sending you that information. It's a little bit of a pain, but you're right. It would, although you can change your address online if you have your online account. But I would think that whatever they do with their regular mail, if they do that with Social Security, they should be fine. But they should, if they're most of your times outside the US, that's the address you should give.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Steve. What I wanted to let everybody know is I finally decided to schedule a monthly updates in advance, except for the one coming up later this week. Anyway, I sent a newsletter. I'm sure you all received it through Constant Contact yesterday with a schedule of updates, I think through February, but don't quote me on that. Maybe even March. I don't know for sure. So anyway, at least you can put that on your schedule. I will try to have all the monthly updates scheduled through the whole of 2024 over the next 2-3 weeks. But I'm trying to schedule them for the last week of each month. So that's what I'm trying to do. So many people ask me, why can't I schedule in advance? Well, I decided to at least give it a shot. All right, we'll go to Bob. Good morning, Bob, to you. Bob Westrich, are you there? Can't hear you, Bob.
You had me muted,
Yeah.
good morning. So, two questions. I want to follow up to Jim on the first question that Marcia gave. When you said that the kids can ask for the benefit back. Kind of drill down on that a little bit. I'm not sure what that means, to ask for the benefit back.
Well, the kids don't ask for it back. Social Security does. So
Oh,
if you,
okay.
yeah, if you save the money, then Social Security says, give us the money back, and they don't keep it. It's not that you lose it. They just reissue it to the child now that they're 18.
Okay, I thought you meant the kids asking for it back. I didn't know what that meant. So thank you for clarifying that. Yeah, question was, husband dies. He's a little bit older than she is, and she takes the survivor benefit. Does her benefit continue to get deferral credits going forward, and then at 70 switch over to her account?
Yeah, she can take the survivor benefit and wait till 70, and she'll earn all those delayed retirement credits.
Okay, I thought so, but I guess now I don't know what's considered deemed filing or not, because it was survivor benefit or not, but apparently it doesn't. But that's what I wanted to clarify. So
right, deemed filing does not apply to the survivor benefit.
Okay, perfect. All right, thank you.
And of course, Bob, remember that the surviving spouse must apply for their own benefits at age 70. It's not an automatic payment.
It's not automatic. You have to do it.
You have to file.
Right. Okay. And I'll end by saying I'm in my Bears colors, and I'm not. I normally would be, but thankfully I don't live in Denver. Thank you.
Okay. By the way, Teresa, I want to congratulate you on your victory yesterday and your victory last Monday night against my own Cleveland Browns. Congratulations. And of course, Pittsburgh Pirates coming back from 9-0 to beat the Cincinnati Reds. So you've had a pretty good few days there, Teresa. Congratulations.
So I hope you don't have a question, because I'm not answering it.
Oh, well.
I actually do.
Okay, why don't we go to you, Teresa? You're out. It's out of order, but might as well. We'll get to William next. I promise.
It'll be a real quick one. Jim, do you think just calling a local Social Security office would help on a client who is missing a whole year and a half worth of earnings on his Social Security statement? They have the W-2s to prove the amount that was paid into, but it's not showing up on the My Social Security statement.
Yeah, they should just actually take that into the local office. That's probably their best bet, and that they can fix it right there in the local office.
Okay. Sounds like a plan.
Alrighty.
Thank you.
Thank you, Teresa. All right, William, you're up.
Hey, well, thank you for reminding me how bad my Broncos are doing this year.
Yeah.
I have two questions. One is an insight question. Another one is a specific based upon scenarios. So the CRSP are for the clergy folk. I tend to run across quite a few pastors here in Indiana. And yes, I am a Bronco in Colt territory. It's a very dangerous place for me. But I have a lot of pastors that are coming to me that have had many years in Social Security, as well as now they're developing and building their 403B inside of their CRSP. I just wanted to understand again, I believe it all breaks down to the calculations of the WEP. But if somebody doesn't have 30 plus years inside of Social Security, what can they anticipate on their Social Security when they have so much more inside of that clergy retirement?
Well, what's going to happen is they're just going to look at the number of years that they have under Social Security covered employment, and they'll do the calculation based on that. First off, if they don't have 35 years total, they're going to have 0 years used in that calculation. So if they have 25 years under Social Security, now that they've opted out of Social Security for the clergy part of it, then they've got 10 years of zero earnings used in the calculation. They're still eligible for benefits. They're eligible for Medicare and that based on what they did because they have their 40 corp credits. But it does cause their benefit to be less.
I appreciate that, and thank you for reminding me that they do need to have that 35 years in order to not have 10 years of zero. Okay. And the second question is, as an investment advisor and an insurance advisor and licensed insurance agent, where I do provide annuities for certain reasons, I've come across a lot of products today that are preparing to replace Social Security income in the event that Social Security current benefits are reduced. Now, I've been under the impression that they're always going to impact the future benefits as opposed to reducing current benefits, because if you think about all the individuals that are on Social Security today and those of them that are on Social Security alone, the impact to reduce a current benefit that can absolutely completely change somebody's lifestyle. What do you believe is the probability, or do you see that Social Security is going to reduce current benefits as opposed to just adjusting future benefits?
Well, William, let me address one thing first. I did talk to somebody not yesterday, I think Friday, who's with the company that sells an insurance product through a company called Nexus. And they offer an insurance plan. I think it's called Plan Gap, but don't quote me on that. Which basically says if in 2033, when the trust fund is gone, current recipients are taking, let's say, a 20% haircut, this plan will pay you a portion of that. Maybe all of it, the reduction, maybe some, I really don't know. But there are insurance products out there that will insure you against that type of cut. Now, I really don't know a lot about that type of insurance policy, but I've heard it from other companies that do sell the Nexus product. If Jim and I were betting, we would bet that that's just not going to happen. 2033, by that time, Congress will make enough changes so current beneficiaries will not see a reduction in their benefits. Younger beneficiaries, their full retirement age would be extended, maybe to age 70, maybe to age 75, who knows? We'll tax more of the earnings to collect more FICA taxes. But for beneficiaries receiving benefits when the trust fund is gone, we don't see a cut to their benefits. We just don't.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Mark, because that's kind of what I've been saying.
Yeah.
But to come across some of these products and come across those individual statements of in the event that, and I'm like, look, I've been teaching Social Security. I'm a Social Security advisor. I don't see that happening, but the fear is what generates that and perpetuates that need for that type of vehicle. But I appreciate your insight there, because I'm in agreement. So thank you.
We're going to have a representative from one of these companies on one of our future webinars talking about that type of product. Don't know when, but it will happen. William, anything else? Jim, first, do you want to add anything to that?
I agree with that. I don't see them lowering the benefits of people that are already receiving. That would just cause all sorts of chaos out there.
Calamity. Yeah. I mean, if you think about all the individuals that are on Social Security alone that don't have pensions and don't have, great retirement savings, to cut their benefit can completely change that. I mean, I think the quality of life as well as their ability to stay in their household might completely change. I didn't see that being the case, but I wanted your opinion on it. So, but thank you very much.
Be as much calamity as giving up 70 points in an NFL game. All right, let's go to Rocky.
When would that ever happen?
I don't think it never happened. Anything. Let's go to Rocky. Hi, Rocky. Your hand is up.
Hey, good morning. If I have a widow or widower that we met and they've already filed for, let's call it their survivor benefits, if they wanted to, let's say they were eligible to use a restricted app, right, and switch back to their own benefit, but they didn't initially file that way. As a widower or widower, are they granted that right to do that? In other words, they don't have to literally say, I'm filing a restricted application, do they?
No, they don't have to say it. It's just filing the survivor benefit. If it's less than what they can get on their own, it is a restricted application in itself. You don't have to tell Social Security what your future plans are. At any point, you can file on your own, and it's a higher benefit. You can do that. You just don't want to wait any past 70, but at any point, you can switch over. You don't have to have told them that's what your plan was when you originally filed the survivor benefits. So they should be okay.
Thanks.
Okay, let's go to Brendan. Brendan, hi, Brendan.
Hey, thanks, Mark. Kind of, I think I know the answers, but I just wanted to make sure kind of on this call this morning. So I was talking with a client last week, and I was trying to walk them through the situation. This particular individual works at Delta, making $100,000 a year, and he was like, "Well, all my coworkers are collecting at 62." I'm like, "Okay, well, you're going to get your reduced benefit. It's going to be reduced even more because you're making $100,000. It's going to be more than that 21,960."
Yeah, 21,240.
Yeah, so it's going to be
Yeah.
reduced there. And then he had said this particular person, they have a pension with Delta that was lasted 14 years. And that he was like, well, my Social Security at FRA at 66 is going to get reduced by $700 a month anyways because of this. And I was like, I don't have the details of the pension, but it sounded like it may be, that wouldn't be a government pension.
Yeah.
Is it just a pension where they just didn't pay FICA taxes and that's why they're getting that reduced?
No, it just seems like he's a little confused. He's confused.
Yeah.
It's just a corporate pension. I don't
Right.
see any reduction because of that. But and until we see any details, we can't really say for sure.
If he had worked for Delta and let's say he went overseas, is that possible? Why that might be the situation? He worked for Delta like in another country.
Jim?
Yeah, it gets a little tricky as to whether he would pay into that other country's pension plan. But if he was, say, Germany, he was eligible for a German pension, then he would be subject to windfall. But that doesn't seem likely. I mean, Delta's a U.S. company, and unless he went over there and would work for over 5 years in Germany, he's not going to pay into their pension plan anyway.
Right. Okay, I figured that. I just wanted to make sure, so I'll give him a call back just because I was like,
maybe it's
Yeah, he's all confused.
maybe it's
Yeah.
a Delta subsidiary
yeah, it could be
that he's
something like
working
that.
for. He is now employed by a foreign company.
Okay, thank you, gentlemen.
All right, thanks, Brendan. Let's go to Timothy. Hi, Timothy. You're muted, Timothy.
I'm
Timothy.
good. Okay.
Oh, good.
sorry.
We're good.
Hey, couple quick questions on Medicare, on the Part B, taking Part B or not taking Part B. I'm a little confused about what the requirement is in the CSRS and FERS in the government. Do you guys have an idea?
Yeah, with civil service, you're not required to take Part B, and you can stay in your retired plan. But if you want to take Part B, you can, but they don't require you to do that. So you don't lose any coverage by not taking Part B. You'll have Part A, premium free. The Part B with FERS, I'm not really sure what the rules are with that one because I wasn't involved in that one. So I'm not sure if they would require you to take the Part B. Send me an email on it and I'll do some checking on it for you and see if I can get an answer to that. Just as a point, if you have clients, well, at least I know with civil service, some of the plans out there, for instance, the Blue Cross Blue Shield basic plan, if you have basic and you go ahead and take Part B, they will Blue Cross will reimburse you up to $800 for your premium that you pay.
Oh.
So some of the plans will offer a reimbursement because it's cheaper on them. You know, the Medicare, if you take Medicare, it's primary. And so they're now your secondary insurer, but you know, not all of them do that.
Okay, yeah, I was confused because I hear from some people saying, "Oh, I don't have to take it," and other people saying they have to take it. But that clarity that you told me about between SIRS and FERS helps.
Yeah, that might
Now I
be.
can go
So-
back and realize that the SIRS ones didn't take it. So yeah, okay. Well, I will send you that. Can I ask another question? Kind of came up when the other gal was talking about disabled in kids.
Sure.
I do have a client whose daughter is in her 20s and she is disabled. And the client asked me, "Well, will the daughter get anything from my benefit?" The daughter is on Social Security on her own, and I didn't know.
Well, if she was disabled before age 22, she's eligible on the parent's work record when they file for their benefits or if they pass. If since she's getting on her own now, if it's regular Social Security, then it would, if her own's higher, then she wouldn't get anything from the parent. If the parents, what she would get from the parent would be higher, she'd get the difference to bring her up to half of the parents if they're alive, or 75% of the PIA if they're deceased. If it's SSI, supplemental security income, then she would be required to file on the parent's work record. And if it's less than the SSI, she'd still get SSI, but it would be reduced by the amount of the Social Security benefit, except for $20. So it just depends on the benefit, but yeah, technically she's eligible.
Yeah, because she's never worked. The daughter's never worked.
Oh, so she's probably on SSI then.
Yes.
And so she'll be eligible on mom's record when she applies for benefits. After 2 years, she'll be eligible for Medicare. And so SSI will require she file when mom files.
And that was age 20, did you say? If they're disabled?
22.
22. Okay.
Yeah.
And so she would get, when the mom dies, because they never had a dad. So when the mom dies, she would then file for a higher benefit.
Or if she files for retirement, she can file on mom.
Okay.
Or if she gets 50% of her PIA. If mom dies, then she files for survivor benefits. She gets 75% of the PIA.
Okay. So, but she'd have to be retirement age herself, the daughter.
Right. Well, no, at whatever age she's at, when mom retires, she'll get benefits.
Oh, okay. Yeah. The mom is 62 now and she hasn't filed.
So if she files now and the daughter's say 25, the daughter will still get off of mom's record.
Okay. So it could go up then.
Yeah.
Okay. That really helps. Thank you.
Sure.
Yeah. Hey, if somebody retires, like in October 1st, and starts taking Social Security, do they just count those 3 months then for the end of the year of income, or do they? I guess I was a little confused about that.
Oh no, though they look at the whole year, so they'd look at January through December, even the 9 months they weren't eligible for benefits. But that's where the monthly test comes in. So they'd look at, okay, you went over the 21,240. Will you be under $1,770 for October, November, and December? And if the answer is yes, even if they earn, $500,000 January through September, they'll still get their benefits for the balance of the year.
Okay.
Based off the monthly test.
Okay. The monthly test is
1770.
Okay. Okay, great. Okay, thank you so much. Really appreciate the answers.
Okay, thanks, Timothy. Let's go to George Laura. You're on.
Hi, good morning. I've got a lot of clients that don't have enough credits to qualify for their Part A benefit with Medicare. And so I'm trying to let them know they have they need to look at their work hours and get that SSA account opened up. Remind me, please, if they don't qualify and they pay for the Part A, that's a monthly payment they have to do, or is it a yearly?
I'm
No,
sure
that's
it's
a monthly
yeah.
payment. I believe right now it's $4.99 a month. If they have between 30 and 39 credits, it's $274. I may be $1 or $2 off on those, but it's pretty close. Now, if they have a spouse who has their 40 credits and they're 62 or older, they can get Part A premium free off of their spouse. Spouse doesn't have to file for benefits. They just have to be 62.
Okay. All right. That helps. Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you. Sue, good morning to you. Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you. Yes.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I just got back and landed. I'm just tuning in. I love the chit chat. It's always good to know the show's on. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Sue. Appreciate it. Okay, let's go to Mike. Hello, Mike.
Can you hear me?
Yep. Yes, we can.
Okay, what particular situation, if you're not civil service, going back to the other question, in order to get your Social Security and you're not in a situation like that, do you have to get Part B in order to receive Social Security, or can you elect out of Part B?
Well, you can always elect out of Part B. So that is possible. You don't have to take it. Now, whether the insurer says, well, whether you take it or not, we're just going to act as a supplement. So whatever Part B would have paid, you're going to be responsible for yourself. That's the question, and that was what I didn't know the answer to for FERS, Federal Employees Retirement System. If they don't take Part B, are they going to be penalized? And that's what we need to find out. But civil service, you're not. You just continue as under your plan as it was before you were 65. But you can always opt out.
Okay, so if I was with Bank of America, or just an employee, and I maxed out my Social Security, and do I have to elect B if I'm no longer involved with the retirement insurance? Do I have to elect B in order to get my Social Security?
No, you can get your Social Security and tell them that you don't want Part B. That's one of the questions they ask. If you're 65 or older and you file your application, they ask you, do you want Part B? So you can opt out because you pay for it. So they can't force you to take it. The problem is, if you do decide to take it later, then for every full 12 months that you delayed past age 65 and you were not covered by an employer group health plan through current employment, then you're penalized 10% for each year. So that's just the drawback to not taking it at 65. But you don't have to, and you can still get your Social Security benefits. No, that's no problem.
But you don't have any insurance. I mean, you don't have Medicare.
Right. You don't have the insurance. So if you go into the hospital, you'd have Part A, but if you go to the doctor, you might owe the doctor a ton of money, and that you got to pay for that yourself.
Okay.
Okay, Mike, thank you. Let's go to Darlene. Good morning, Darlene.
Good morning, Mark. I do not have any questions today. Thanks.
Okay, thanks, Darlene. Tori, you're up next. Hi, Tori. Okay, let's go to Aaron. Hello, Aaron.
Hi, Mark. How are you?
We're good. Thanks for being here.
Good. Thanks for having me. I don't have any questions today, just listening.
Okay, thank you so much, Aaron. Phil, you're up next, Phil. Phil Martin. Okay, we'll go to Adam. Hi, Adam.
Hi, guys. No questions this morning. Thanks.
Okay, thanks, Adam. Appreciate it. Okay, Phil, you're up.
Thanks, Mark. You may have already talked to this, but I've picked up doing a couple extra seminars, and one of the things that always comes up is, the viability of Social Security. Will it be here for us? And I think you kind of touched on this earlier, but any additional, one-liner sound bites that you might add to offer that degree of confidence? Because I think somebody brought it up earlier. As soon as they get rattled, they either make poor decisions potentially, or they jump into products that aren't really good fits out of fear. So anything else you might be able to throw onto that fire, I'd love to hear your thoughts.
Over $1 trillion in FICA taxes come in each year. And that will be the money that will be paid out to beneficiaries once this trust fund is gone. So Social Security is not going away. It just may not be the program that we know as we know it today. But money is always going to come in. Money will always be paid out. Jim?
Yeah, I agree with that. And, as far as being able to give anything specific, that's a little tough to do, because nobody knows for sure what our congressmen are going to do. But I'm pretty sure they're not going to cut anybody's benefits, because who's going to vote for anybody that cuts your benefits? So they're going to do whatever they need to do. They may change how benefits are computed for higher earners. So a little bit of means testing there, but that's for the folks who are at the maximum level. Most people, I would be surprised to see any kind of change at all.
Would you not think that they might actually means test it similar to like Medicare? Instead of having a cap on Social Security, remove the cap and do it just like Medicare at that point in time?
Well, that's a possibility. I mean, you already pay the Medicare portion of the tax on all of your earnings. It's very possible they could just say, we're removing the cap, and this is how we're going to change it. And it may be somewhere along the line where they say, okay, we're going to put a cap on the AMI, or they may, similar to what you're talking about, instead of 3 BIM points, maybe have 5 BIM points, or maybe more. And of course, the higher those BIM points go, the less money you get up from your AMI. So they can means test it that way. That's a real possibility. And that only affects the higher earners. It does not affect the lower earners.
Thank you.
Let's see. Nathan, you're up next. Nathan.
No questions today.
Thank you, Nathan. Let's go to Chris. Hi, Chris.
No questions, Jim and Mark, but this is my first time on your Ask or Stump the Experts, and I'm impressed. So
okay.
I'll be back.
I'm stumped all the time. Thank goodness Jim's around. Okay. Let's go to Leslie. Hi, Leslie. Jeff, you're next. Oh,
sorry,
wait a second,
Leslie,
Jeff.
I couldn't get unmuted fast enough.
Okay, Leslie, you're up.
I have a question about who can file online and who cannot. I get confused about that all the time.
There are only 3 applications you cannot do online. One will be for children. The other one would be for surviving spouses. And the other one is the spousal boost. So if you're looking to add the spousal boost to your own retirement benefit, or the other 2 I just mentioned, you need to contact SSA and either schedule an in-office visit or let them take the application over the phone.
One more question about that. What about some of my clients who are still working past, full retirement age, have had problems with enrolling in Medicare and Social Security retirement benefits online later, because I guess with the Medicare, because you have to show that you have to show your employer coverage.
Yeah, credible coverage.
Right.
Jim?
Not sure why they would have problems. There's a form for the employer to fill out. It's I don't know if it's an SSA or CMS, but it's an L564. And you fill that out, and that the employer says, yes, they were covered from 65 to the current point. If they're receiving benefits, there's a Form 40B that they fill out that just says, yes, I want Part B. You're probably best to do that just dealing with the local office, not trying to do it over the phone or and through the mail, that kind of thing. Is particularly if there's an office where they're having problems.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Let's go, Jeff. You're next.
Okay, thank you. Good morning, everybody. Yeah, I have a question on, so I've got a guy that's, he's divorced. He's remarried. He's got a disabled child that's disabled under the age of 22. The child's 21 right now. And so he's remarried. So the stepmom is disabled and currently collecting SSDI on her own record. I know that the child can claim disability off of her record, even though it's the stepmom, right?
If he was
First thing.
receiving at least one half of his support for 12 months or more, then yes. From her.
Okay, and the child is, but the child, this is kind of the question here, is the child resides primarily with bio mom, not with the dad and stepmom. But he does support the child. I'll have to verify whether it's more than half. Let's assume it's more than half, but I'm pretty sure it is. But he resides with the biological mom. Does that play a factor into whether he can draw off of the stepmom?
No, all they're going to look at for entitlement is who provides 50% or more of the support. And if the stepmom does, then the child's eligible. It's just since the child lives with the biological mom, she'd be the representative payee, but the child still could be eligible.
Can the dad be the representative payee if he pays more than half, but the child's not living with him, and therefore that he's kind of controls receives the check and is able to apply that to the child?
Not likely. They unless there's a reason that he can provide that the biological mom wouldn't be a good representative payee, they're normally going to go with who they live with.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, great. Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you, Jeff. Allison, you're next. Oh, there you go, Allison.
Yes. So I was wondering when you have a kid, a disabled child, adult child, who doesn't have an intellectual disability, so they're not, IQ is not 70 or below, they qualify for SSI. What is the process, or can a parent be the representative payee? We're running into a lot of kids that are on the autism spectrum, maybe high functioning, maybe ADHD. They cannot handle money at all, but they do not have an intellectual disability, so they're not under a guardianship per se. So what is the process to get approved to be a rep payee for that?
Yeah, they don't have to be under a guardianship for someone to be appointed their representative payee. Now it's up to each individual representative who takes the payee application. They're going to make a determination. They can use medical information so if there's something from a doctor that says, yeah, they may be high functioning in this area, but in no way could manage their own funds. That goes a long way. But even without that, if the parent would file to be the representative payee and let Social Security know that this person can't manage their own funds. And so what it would require is an in-person interview with the child for the representative to make the determination. No, the child is not able to manage their own funds, and they would appoint the parent to be whoever to be the representative payee. So it can be done.
Okay, thank you. We've been running into this a lot lately.
Thanks, Allison. Our last one is Stephen Roth. Hi, Stephen.
Hey, how's it going? Great job, guys.
Yeah, thanks
Love
for being
these
here.
meetings.
Yeah, so I think when I first jumped on the call a little late, you were talking about immigration issues or non-citizen or not living in the United States. I get a lot of culinary workers. Some are illegal, probably some are non-resident aliens. Is there like a general rule on benefits like you could go over or for non-US citizens?
Well, for non-US citizens, you have to be legally admitted. If someone is here illegally but still working, and maybe they've given the employer a fake social security number or one that they obtained illegally, that money just goes into the trust fund, and that person would never draw a social security benefit. They're not eligible for anything. If you're here legally and you earn your 40 credits, then you're going to be eligible for a benefit. You know, if you're here and allowed to work, I think they were talking about here recently a bunch of folks from Venezuela were given work authorization. So if they're here long enough and earn their 40 credits, they would eventually be eligible. Now, do they receive payment? If they're living in the US, they would. If they go outside the US, normally, once you're outside the US for 6 months, they suspend your benefits till you come back for 30 days. But there's about 28 countries that Social Security has agreements with that you would just continue to receive your benefits. So the key is, are they here legally, and did they earn their 40 credits while they were here legally with authorization to work?
So is it just going off the totalization list? That would be the 28 countries? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it's whichever ones they have the totalization agreement with. Then if you're a citizen of one of those countries and you live in one of those countries, the 6-month rule doesn't apply.
Got it. So let's say you have a legal worker, but it's not a U.S. citizen. They get married. They're married to a U.S. citizen. He passes away, and now the legal worker, but not a U.S. citizen, is entitled to survivor benefits. Is it all the same rule? 6 months in, 30 days, the whole thing is all even for survivor benefits?
Right. Same rule for survivor. If they go to a non-totalization country, it's basically a 6-month rule. If it's a totalization country, then they're fine.
Got it. Okay. Thank you. Great job.
Sure.
Okay, folks, Jim has a Zoom coming up at the top of the hour, so I'm going to let him go.
Yeah, they're waiting for me to let him in, so.
Okay, so we're basically winding down anyways, but Jim, we need to award 2 gift cards. Go for it, buddy.
Well, since we talked about
numbers between 1 and 24, I believe.
Yeah, since we talked about entitlement to benefits, let's go with 4 and 20.
Why, Jim?
Because you need 420 months in the calculation of your benefit.
And what does the 4 mean? A 420.
Number 4?
Yeah.
420 months. So 4 and 20.
Fair enough. Okay.
We can't go with 42 and 0. I guess
that means we keep the money. Anyway, Bob Westrich, you receive 1. You're number 4. And Chris Lester.
That's right.
What I do require the 2 of you to do, though, send me an email just to remind me. Sometimes I forget. So send me an email at mkiner, Kiner, at mypremierplan.com, and my son Aaron will send you electronically a $50 gift card. All right. So, Jim, let's finish up by talking about that restricted application. You know, we're getting closer to December 31st. So the question I have for you is, when was the last time you met with somebody who was able to file a restricted app?
I still couldn't tell you. I haven't had one recently, so it's been many, many, many months.
Has any so basically that's going to go away at the end of this year. We all know that. But between now and then, if you're meeting with the client that was born by that magic birth date of 1/154, infrequently, but give it some thought. Has anybody here met with anybody recently? William did. Congratulations, William. You met with
I
somebody.
have, and that was one of the questions that they had was, can they still file the restricted app? And I said, at this moment, yes, if you have not yet filed, but let's look if it makes sense to do so.
Did they go back 6 months?
They did not go back 6 months, and in fact, the benefit was it was going to work out for them to just take the full benefit at that point in time instead of doing the restricted application. So,
Well, why didn't they go back? Oh, they did not do the restricted app. Okay, fine. Okay, I got it. Okay, but they did. They might have been able to go back 6 months. So, okay.
Correct.
By the way, the 70 points given up was the most since 1966. Just so you know, it came across my TV set. Okay, hey folks.
You want to twist that knife a little deeper?
No, I think we're done. We're done. Anyway, hey, thanks everybody for being here today. I appreciate it, even though we had to schedule it on this Yom Kippur holiday, but we appreciate everybody here. And we will see you, I guess, in a couple weeks. I guess that's when the next open forum is scheduled. So
thank you,
bye.
Jim. Thank you, Mark.
Bye, everybody.
Take care.
Bye.